Shabbat Shalom and Chag Sameach, happy Sukkot from the temple. We're very happy to have you join us for our Friday evening services and for the first day of Sukkot, our festival of booths. If you'd like to join along in the service, following along in the prayer book, we're using the Mishkan Tefillah for weekdays and festivals, the special prayer book we use for holidays like this, even when they fall on Shabbat. You'll find a link for this in our YouTube description if you don't have a copy of the book with you at home. Or you can just sit back, enjoy the service, the music, the prayers, and join in with our congregation as we celebrate Shabbat and the holiday of Sukkot. Our opening song is Hine Ma Tov, how good it is and how wonderful when a community can gather as one. You can find it on page 380.
הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת עמים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת עמים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב, הנה מה טוב, יא לה 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 לה. הנה מה טוב, הנה מה טוב, יא לה 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 לה. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, יא לה 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 לה. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת עמים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת עמים גם יחד.
It's now my pleasure to invite Jay and Karen Waldman to come from their home into yours, leading us in the Sabbath blessings and the blessing for Sukkot, for the lighting of candles, and for the Kiddush wine. Jay, Karen?
Baruch Hu Baruch Shemo, Baruch Hu Baruch Shemo, Baruch Hu Baruch Shemo. Baruch Atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu l'hadlik ner shel Shabbat v'shel Yom Tov. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who hallows us with mitzvot and commanding us to kindle the light of Shabbat and Sukkot.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lihad likneh shel Shabbat v'shel Yom Tov.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, ruler of the universe, creator of the fruit of the vine.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Amen.
Thank you, Jay and Karen. And because this is a special day, you can see the etrog and the lulav representing Sukkot. We have the pleasure of being able to say the Shechianu, our blessing for the ability to be able to reach this time in health and together as a community. Please join us in the Shechianu.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו
לזמן הזה. ברוך אתה, אדוני אלוהינו, מלך העולם, שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה.
Prayer for healing. Source of healing, cast the light of health and well-being upon those who've been exposed to coronavirus, those who've contracted the disease, and those who are susceptible to contracting the disease in the future. Bless them, protect them, bring them speedily to a full recovery. Bless all who are ill with healing of body and healing of soul and healing of spirit as well. Baruch atah Adonai, Makor HaChaim, blessed are you, Adonai, the source of all life. We continue now with a special prayer for Sukkot, which can be found on page 125 in the prayer book. Tonight, let our shelters be strung with the finest fruits of creation, love, fertility, prosperity, and wisdom. Let us promise to feed the hungry. Let our harvest bring us peace. We turn now to the Baruch Hu on page 130. We rise.
Be the one to whom our praise is due.
Praise be the one to whom our praise is due. Praise be the one to whom our praise is due. Now and forever.
La 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 la. Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la.
Page 133. The colors of early evening sky blend and deepen, allowing new lights to be seen, twinkling through the branches, the promise that is darkness. New light will be revealed. Everlasting love you offered your people Israel by teaching us Torah and mitzvot, laws and precepts. Therefore, Adonai our God, when we lie down and when we rise up, we will meditate on your laws and your commandments. We will rejoice in the Torah forever. Day and night we will reflect on them, for they are our life, and doing them lengthens our days. Never remove your love from us. Praise to you, Adonai, who loves your people Israel. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael. The Shema can be found on page 136.
and you shall bind them for a sign upon your hand, and they shall be for frontlets between your eyes, and you shall write them on the doorposts of your house, and upon your gates, and upon your gates, that you shall remember and do all of my commandments, and be holy unto your God, unto your God, unto your God.
Please be seated and join me in the reading of the Ve'ahavta, page 138. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha, b'chol levavcha, uv'chol nafshecha, uv'chol me'odecha. V'hayu hadvarim ha'ele, asher anochi mitzavcha hayom al levavecha. V'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam, b'shivtecha b'veitecha, uv'lechtecha v'aderech, uv'shochbecha uv'kumecha. Ukshartam la'ot al yadecha, v'hayu latotafot beinenecha. Uchtavtam al mezuzot beitecha uvisharecha. Lama'an tizkaru va'asitem et kol mitzvotai, v'item kedoshim lelohechem. Ani Adonai Elohechem, asher hotzeti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim, liot lachem lelohim. Ani Adonai Elohechem. We continue on page 141. Hold fast to dreams, for if dreams die, life is a broken-winged bird which cannot fly. Hold fast to dreams, for when dreams go, life is a barren field covered with snow. Hold fast to your dreams. We continue with the singing of Mi Chamocha, which can be found on page 142.
Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la. Mi kamocha bailim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh, nora tehilot osef eleh, osef eleh. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la.
We're at the bottom of page 143. L'chol zman ve'et l'chol chefetz tachat hashamayim. A season is set for everything, a time for every purpose under heaven. Grant, O God, that we lie down in peace, and rise us up, O guardian, to life renewed. Spread over us the shelter of your peace. Guide us with your good counsel, for your name's sake, be our help. Shield us and shelter us beneath the shadow of your wings. Defend us against enemies, illness, war, famine, and sorrow. Distance us from wrongdoing. For you, God, watch over us and deliver us. For you, God, are gracious and merciful. Guard our going and our coming to life and to peace evermore. Blessed are you, Adonai, guardian of Israel, whose shelter of peace is spread over us, over all your people, Israel, and over Jerusalem. Baruch atah Adonai, haporei Sukkot shalom, aleinu v'al kol amo Yisrael v'al Yerushalayim. We continue with the singing of Yismachu, which can be found on page 147 for the joy of Shabbat.
Shamre, 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 Shabbat, v'kore oneg Shabbat. Yismechu v'malichutecha, shamre,
Oneg Shabbat. Yismechu v'malchutecha. Shomrei, Shomrei, Shomrei Shabbat. V'korei Oneg Shabbat.
והשביעי רצית בו וקידשתו שבת. חינות ימים אותו קראת
Shabbat. Yismechu v'malchutecha. Shomrei, Shomrei, Shomrei Shabbat. V'korei Oneg Shabbat. Yismechu v'malchutecha. Shomrei, Shomrei, Shomrei Shabbat. V'korei Oneg Shabbat. Zecher L'maaseh v'reishit Shabbat. Zecher L'maaseh v'reishit Shabbat. Yismechu v'malchutecha. Shomrei, Shomrei, Shomrei Shabbat. V'korei Oneg Shabbat. Yismechu v'malchutecha. Shomrei, Shomrei, Shomrei Shabbat. V'korei Oneg Shabbat.
We turn now to the Tefillah, our standing prayer, which can be found on page 204.
Na 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 Adonai. Na 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 Sfatai tiftach. Na 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 Ufi yagid Tehilatecha. Na 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 Adonai. Na 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 Sfatai tiftach. Na 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 Ufi yagid Tehilatecha. Na 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 Adonai. Na 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 Sfatai tiftach. Na 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 Ufi yagid Tehilatecha.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzhak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, v'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomer Chasadim Tovim v'Koneh Hakol, v'Zocher Chasdei Avot v'Imahot, Umevi Geula Livnei v'Nehem L'ma'an Shemo Ba'ahava, Melech Ozer u'Moshia u'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham ve'Ezrat Sarah. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, God of our fathers and our mothers, God of Abraham, God of Isaac, and God of Jacob, God of Sarah, God of Rebekah, God of Rachel, and God of Leah, the great, mighty, and awesome God, transcendent God, who bestows loving kindness, creates everything out of love, remembers the love of our fathers and our mothers, and brings redemption to their children's children for the sake of the divine name. Sovereign, deliverer, helper, and shield. Blessed are you, Adonai, Sarah's helper, Abraham's shield. Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham ve'Ezrat Sarah. Your might, O God, renews the earth. With dewdrops of light and blessing, let the earth be illumined and blessed. With dewdrops of joy and delight, let the earth rejoice and sing out. With dewdrops of life and well-being, let the earth be revived and improved. With dewdrops of redemption, let the earth be redeemed. Livracha v'lo leklala, l'chaim v'lo lemavet, l'sova v'lo l'razon, for blessing and not for curse, for life and not for death, for abundance and not for want. Amen. You are holy, your name is holy, and those who are holy praise you every day. Blessed are you, Adonai, the holy God. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'el hakadosh. You're seated. We turn to page 215 for a special reading for the festival of Sukkot, our Feast of Booths. 3 times a year you shall hold a festival for me. You shall observe the Feast of Unleavened Bread, eating unleavened bread for 7 days as I have commanded you, at the end of the month of Aviv. For in it you went forth from Egypt, and none shall appear before me empty-handed. And the Feast of the Harvest, of the first fruits of your work, of what you sow in the field, and the Feast of the Ingathering at the end of the year, when you gather the results of the work of your field. Our God and God of our ancestors, let us be mindful of your people Israel and recall for our merit for good and for grace, and in loving kindness and compassion for life and peace on this festival of Sukkot. Zochrenu Adonai Eloheinu bo l'tova, ufoktenu bo livracha, v'hoshienu bo l'chaim. This day remember us for well-being. This day remember us for your nearness. This way help us for the fuller life. Amen. We turn now to our prayer for peace, which can be found on page 224. Grant abundant peace to your people Israel forever. And you are our sovereign God of peace. May it be pleasing to you to bless your people Israel in every season and moment with your peace. Blessed are you, Adonai, who blesses your people Israel with peace. Baruch atah Adonai, hamevorech et amo Yisrael, b'shalom.
Shalom Ra, Yisrael Amcha, Tazim Leolam. Shalom Ra, Yisrael Amcha, Tazim Leolam. Ki oto Melech Adon, Lechol HaShalom. Shalom Ra, Yisrael Amcha, Tazim Leolam. Shalom Ra, Yisrael Amcha, Tazim Leolam. V'tov b'einecha levarech et amcha Yisrael b'chol עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. Shalom Ra al Yisrael Amcha, Tazim Leolam. Shalom Ra al Yisrael Amcha, Tazim Leolam. Tazim Leolam. Tazim Leolam.
We take now a moment for silent prayer. page 247, you'll find the words to the Misha Berach, our prayer for hope and for healing, which we say particularly this evening for all those in need of healing, those who are struggling with this pandemic, either by themselves having contracted the disease, people they love, people they care for strength and courage for all who care for all of us in these times. And we ask this blessing for hope and healing, that we might find healing for our community, for ourselves, and for all the world. Please join us.
Before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mishebera imotenu mikor Abraham, Avoteinu, bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
Word of Torah. Each week throughout the year, we read, study, and teach a portion of the Torah which is shared by Jews throughout the world. In simple terms, this should mean at the beginning of the year, we begin at the beginning. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. And at the end of the year, we conclude by reading Zot HaBracha, telling the tale of the death of Moses within sight of the Promised Land. That should mean that just having completed our celebration of the new year, with Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, we should be beginning again tonight within the beginning. But we're Jews, so nothing can be so simple. Because this long journey of the Torah, read round and round throughout our days, has become so central to our worship and our ethics and our understanding of our relationship with God, that this moment when we begin the cycle again each year has become, and ought to be, cause for celebration. And so sometime in the Middle Ages, we created a holiday that's not mentioned in the Torah to celebrate the reading of the Torah as we end and begin again. And we'll be doing that celebration in Simchas Torah just next week. So it makes sense that tonight, on the Sabbath, before we read the last portion of the Torah, we should be reading the second to last Torah portion, which is called Ha'azinu, the last great poem of Moses, urging the children of Israel to follow God's words after he's gone. But we read Ha'azinu last week. Because every once in a while, when the moon and the stars are aligned just so, the first Sabbath of the new year falls exactly 5 days after Yom Kippur, as it does this year, and then the first night of the harvest festival of Sukkot falls on the Sabbath. Holidays have their own special Torah portions to be read, which interrupt our usual journey through the year, which means that the last night of the 7 days of the festival, Simchas Torah, falls on next Shabbat, and we're going to have to wait for 3 weeks because there's a special Torah portion for then too. So we begin again at the beginning 3 weeks after the beginning, this year, only this year. All this is just a preamble to explain why on this particular Shabbat, we read from the book of Leviticus, a special Torah portion for the first day of the festival of Sukkot. The bad news here is that we interrupt the climactic story of Moses' last words to the children of Israel in order to travel back to the laws and ritual sacrifices of Leviticus. The good news in the context of that bad news is that this is by far the shortest Torah portion of the entire year. To give you a context, the largest Torah portion is Naso. It contains 139 verses of Torah. The shortest regular weekly portion is Vayelech. It has 30 verses of Torah. And the first day of Sukkot reading, which we read tonight from Leviticus 23, verses 33 to 44. I could summarize the Torah portion for you, but with only 11 verses in all, it might be better just to read it. God spoke to Moses, saying, "Say to the Israelite people, on the 15th day of the 7th month there shall be a feast of booths to your God, lasting 7 days. The first day shall be a sacred occasion. You shall do no work, and for 7 days you shall bring sacrifices to your God. On the 8th day you shall observe a sacred occasion and bring a sacrifice to your God. It is a solemn gathering. You shall do no work. These are God's set times that you shall celebrate by bringing offerings to your God, burnt offerings, meal offerings, sacrifices, and libations, in addition to God's Sabbaths and in addition to your gifts and votive offerings and freewill offerings. Mark the 15th day of the 7th month, when you've gathered in the harvest and observed the festival to your God, lasting for 7 days, a complete rest on the first day and a complete rest on the 8th day. On the first day you shall take the fruit of the hadar tree," that would be this, "and branches of the palm and the boughs of the leafy trees and willows from the brook, and you shall rejoice for God for 7 days. You shall observe the festival for your God 7 days in the year, and you shall observe it in the 7th month as the law for all time throughout all your ages. All Israel shall live in booths for 7 days, in order that future generations may know that I caused the Israelite people to live in booths when I brought them forth out of Egypt. I am your God," so Moses declared to the Israelite people, and set God's sacred times. That's it, the whole Torah portion. We did it all together. Just 11 verses, and yet it reads like a study guide for the celebration of Sukkot. We are to gather the produce of nature, the lulav and the etrog, a metaphor intended to connect us to the earth and our reliance upon the bounty of the earth in every generation. And appropriately enough, the Torah teaches us the reasons for building a sukkah, that fragile booth which serves as a temporary shelter for our ancestors when they went forth out of Egypt. A reminder of the fragility of our lives, as if we needed a reminder of our own fragility amidst the pandemic. And yet, it is also an image of that sheltering presence of God amidst trial and tribulation in every age. And, if I might just add one more modern metaphor for this Feast of Booths, as we can consider Sukkot this year as a reminder of another holiday of booths, Election Day, the voting booth, which we will be visiting 1 month from today unless you're sending in a mail-in ballot. An image of protection of our fragile democracy, and one that can be sustained only when we visit our booths, so go vote. May we share together a joyous Feast of Booths. Shabbat Shalom to you all.
השלושה דברים העולם קיים, השלושה דברים העולם קיים, השלושה דברים העולם קיים, השלושה דברים העולם קיים, על האמת ועל הדין ועל השלום, על האמת ועל הדין ועל השלום, השלושה דברים העולם קיים, השלושה דברים העולם קיים.
Our concluding service can be found on page 323. We rise. Let us adore the ever-living God and render praise unto you, who spreads out the heavens and established the earth, whose glory is revealed in the heavens above, and whose greatness is manifest throughout the world. You are our God. There is none else. We continue on page 327. May we gain wisdom in our lives, overflowing like a river with understanding. Loved each of us for the peace we bring to others. May our deeds exceed our speech, and may we never lift up our hand but to conquer fear and doubt and despair. Rise up like the sun, O God, over all humanity. Cause light to go forth over all the lands between the seas, and light up the universe with the joy of wholeness, of freedom, and of peace.
ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד. It has been said Adonai will be sovereign over all the earth. On that day Adonai will be one, and God's name will be one, and God's name will be one.
Page 329. The light of life is a finite flame. Like the Shabbat candles, life is kindled, it burns, and it glows. It is radiant with warmth and beauty, but soon it fades. Its substance is consumed, and it is no more. In light we see, in light we are seen. The flames dance and our life burns down in gutters. There's an end to the flames. We see no more and are no more seen. Yet we do not despair, for we are more than a memory slowly fading into the darkness. With our lives we give life. Something of us can never die. We move in the eternal cycle of darkness and death, of light and life. Our thoughts turn to those who have departed from this earth, our own loved ones, those whom our friends and our neighbors have lost, the martyrs of our people whose graves are unmarked, and those of every race and nation whose lives have been a blessing to humanity. As we remember them, we meditate on the meaning of love and loss, of life and death. This week in our congregation, we remember particularly the names of Lonnie Nafusi, Marianne Morgulin, Arthur Siegel, James Markert, Charles Goodman, Hildegard Ernst, Saul Zimmerman, Price Matlow, Max L. Hyman, Adele Hamill, Judith Bensinger, Martin Enoch, Gertrude Briner, Hyman Goldstein, Robert Frocht, Max Yanoff, Edward Marshall Traeger, Joan Strauss Glassman Nussbaum, Jean T. Perlman, Ben Nybaugh, Matilda Jacobs, Belle S. Kimmelfield, Lillian Bortz Little, Harry L. Gradman, Mary Benjamin, James Lyons, Nathan Goodfreund, Jeanette Schwartz, Jack Epstein, Gary Nettle Needleman, Mary Lorber, Minnie L. Temkin, Leroy Joseph, Naomi Pressma, Pearl K. Turk, J. Harry Bloom, Rebecca Rosen, Tess R. Ruby, Pat Waterman, Bernice S. Katz, Edwin A. Tuttle, Sharon Helene Subau, and two who died in recent days, Ann F. Gerstein and Nat Zimmerman. Zichronam livracha. May their memories be for blessing as we rise for Kaddish, page 334. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabba, balma divra chirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayachonu v'yomechonu v'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael, magala uvizman kari v'imru, amen. Yehei shmei Rabba mavorach le'olam ulmei olmaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitba'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitalev v'yithalal shemei dekudisha b'rechu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da amiran bi'alma v'imru, amen. Yehei shloma rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru, amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru, amen. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn and comfort to all who are bereaved, and we say together, amen. Our closing song is Oseh Shalom, the last three lines of the Kaddish. You can find them at the bottom of page 334.
Oseh Shalom bimromav, u'ya'aseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael v'yimru, amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, u'ya'aseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael v'yimru, amen. Oseh shalom
bimromav, u'ya'aseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael v'yimru, amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, u'ya'aseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael v'yimru, amen. V'yimru, amen.
Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, our God, God of our mothers and our fathers, God of all the generations of Israel, be our help. May your blessings of shalom, of wholeness and peace, descend upon us like a cleansing rain, bringing us hope and drawing us towards holiness in our lives, in the life of the people of Israel, and in all the world. Bless us with the courage to face the challenges of our day, with wisdom to heal the sick, courage to strive for justice and for peace, and compassion always to care for those in need. Bless all those we love with the blessing of Shabbat peace. May we all celebrate together this ingathering, this harvest festival, as we remember the blessings in our lives and share those blessings with all the world. Adonai oz la'amo yitain. Adonai yivarech et amo Yisrael. May God grant strength to the people of Israel. May God grant us all strength in all the world. Amen.
Amen.
Shabbat Shalom, Hag Sameach.